people, what is going down? It's MC Noble here, DJ Ash Noble. At this point, whatever you want to call me. I'm the guy who comes live and waffles shite, or as if some people are interested, I talk about my experiences of playing bookings, and I come live and update you guys on where I'm playing next. So what I usually do, if I get a gig, I'll come live on YouTube and I'll do like a stream and I'll announce where I'm playing and give you a bit of info about the event. And then after, well, what I normally do is I try to get footage at the events, but like a really bad phone at the moment. So taking pictures and videos on this phone is not the best thing. So I haven't really been getting much footage recently, which I'm a little bit gutted about because I played some belting events, but I'll be getting some footage in the future. I do put pictures and things on social media that get taken by like the photographers and by other people. But my own phone just doesn't work. So normally I do the stream where I announce where I'm going to be playing. If I've got any footage of the gig, then I'll put the footage of the gig up. And then I do like a little aftermath stream where I'll just talk a little bit about how the booking went, what went down at the booking, and stuff like that. Quite a cool thing, right? It's a little bit different. I don't really of like many other DJs that do this. I mean, maybe it's just a boring thing. Maybe people are just genuinely not interested in it. I don't know. It's just I've never heard of any other DJs that will just come live and sort of like talk about how a booking went and announce bookings. I mean, some DJs do go live and say, "Look, I'm playing here," but to get the experience of someone talking about how the booking went and sort of just genuine sort of stories that you can maybe tell about the night and stuff, it's just not something I've ever heard of. So I like to do it myself, as I think it's quite unique at the moment. But like I say, no one's ever said like, why do you do this boring shit? But at the same time, no one said like, absolutely love what you do. So apart from one person, did like I come live and spoke about something to do with my band and music lab. Someone from Goodwin was like, I like how you went live and spoke about it. So anyway, today we have got the aftermath of yesterday's gig, and I thought I'd do it this morning because tomorrow I'm going to be like absolutely probably shattered, because I'm actually a little tired now, but when you're excited because you've got a festival and all that today, it's a little bit like, yeah, I had a little bit of a late night and then I was actually awake quite earlier than I thought I was going to be awake, with like festival excitement. And when you sort of lay down, you do feel a bit tired, but you just can't get back to sleep, and then you just think, oh, I may as well get up. And so I've been up and I've had a mix and everything, and I'm now just chilled doing this with a brew. So yesterday I was DJing for 5 hours at a place called Lennys Bar. So to cut the story short, for those of you who may or may not know, on Tuesday I got mentioned in a comment on a post in a group called Hull DJs. It's just a group on Facebook, and a lot of like live streams and different posts get shared into it. And quite recently and frequently, people have been putting posts in like, "Oh, we're looking for a DJ, birthday parties, etc." And there was a guy called Mark who put a post in saying they was looking for a DJ to DJ Lennys Bar this Friday. I got mentioned in it, so I thought, well, do you know what? Oh, I'll inquire a bit more. So I messaged the guy himself, and the guy called Mark, he's the regular DJ in his bar. That I'm aware of. He didn't go into too much detail, but he's out of the country, so I presume he's gone on holiday or something, or he's somewhere sunning it up, or maybe he's gone like for business reasons. I'm not sure, but he's not in the country. He couldn't do this Friday, so he was looking for somebody who would just basically cover this Friday night. And obviously there was Wonga involved, there was cash involved, and essentially. So I thought, well, do you know what? My usual partner in crime, the layman, he was already booked at an event this weekend, which I was going to go with him to it. But then I got chance of this booking, and I thought, well, do you know what? It's why turn down the booking, especially when when you can get like Wonga out of it, and you can get paid for it, and stuff like that. So I was kind of like, well, do you know what? I may as well take it. So I decided that I was going to get myself a taxi there and a taxi back because I thought, why not? Do you know what I mean? I might as well, and I might as well do the booking. So obviously, I asked a few general little questions. I mean, obviously, he does this bar sort of every Friday, so he sort of knows sort of what they like and sort of what they play. So I thought, I'll ask a few sort of general, what do they like and stuff, and what do you normally play? What seems to go down well? And it gave me a list, like Motown and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'll get some of that. And one thing I've come to learn about doing these kind of bookings and doing these kind of gigs is the DJ who has maybe done this place before can say, yeah, they like this, they like that, they like the other. But what you've got to realise is, and this is what I realised yesterday, is that it's a bar. I mean, obviously it's a bar, but different people come and go. Different people come and go, right? And sometimes you'll get people in that maybe vibe a little bit of a different style of sound. So obviously, I got told, play all this Motown and all this disco and stuff. So that's what I did. I went in there and I started off with some 70s disco. Had a little bit of an error with my USB. Some of the tunes wouldn't load for some reason. So I didn't have too much disco. But I had like some other 70s songs and then I had some 80s. So I went into like 70s and 80s, away from that sort of Motown stuff once I'd played, what I was able to play. And I went into like, this sort of like 80s, so sort of like Casey and JoJo, All My Life, and Tell It to My Heart, Total Eclipse of the Heart, and stuff like that. And it actually went down really well. Like people was enjoying it. There was a guy. He was sat right near the DJ booth because they set a little table up. He was like a middle aged man, um, and he was buzzed. I was bringing in some songs, and he was like, "Oh yes, go on, son. Now we're talking." And he was loving the vibe. The second tune I played of the night, like a middle-aged woman and her bloke and a few other lasses started dancing already, like they was enjoying the vibe. Um, and I think a few people, maybe underestimated what I could do because they're thinking like this smart guy, middle-aged man comes in and plays all the old stuff and he and all this that and the other, and then obviously I arrive at the club and it's this the pub, and it's this young kid and they're thinking this guy's gonna replace Mark, like like what's he gonna do with one speaker? And obviously, I had to go back to the taxi and get the other speaker, obviously. And people were sort of underestimating me a bit. Like, is this guy really gonna do the music? Like, is this actually the replacement DJ? And that was the look on a lot of people's faces. And then there was a bit of disappointment when I said, look, sadly, that there's going to be no karaoke. Because obviously Mark usually does the karaoke and he has a special thing to do the karaoke, which I don't have. I had a microphone with me, but sadly it started playing up, unfortunately. So there was a couple of people disappointed there was no karaoke. But once I got on with the vibe, people was loving it, and then people was like, "Whoa!" How does this guy know all these old tunes? Because I'm only 24, so how do I know these 70s tunes? And I'm there and I'm boogieing along to it. I'm having a good time, and I always like to put that happy, sort of positive face on. And then a guy come up to me in a white sort of jumper, and asked me when my next rave was. So he obviously recognised me from somewhere. And then I showed him this festival flyer, and there's a DJ on the festival flyer called Deluxe, and he thought it was the Deluxe from Hull. So it's obvious that he must know like some of the, like some of the hardcore crew from Hull, or stomping crew, or whatever you want to call it. Like, some of the sort of like DJs from Hull. Maybe listen to the old pirate radios. I haven't got a clue. And when you sort of in the moment, you're trying to mix in your tunes, and then you're trying to also sort of try and hear what the guy's saying. So I showed him this flyer. He was like, "Oh yeah, nice, wicked." And then there was a bald guy in like a sort of creamy pinky coloured sort of jacket, who's now booked me for the 20th of August. To do a 30th birthday party, because he liked the vibe of what I was playing. And then a little bit later on, was like a youngish couple, a man and a woman, came into the bar, and they was sat sort of more or less opposite, so they could just sort of sit in the chair, and they could just watch me essentially, and they was just watching me, and they was just grinning and smiling. And then I found out at the end of the night that they actually came to the Clubland Vibes at Hull, where I warmed up for Kelly Lorena, and Kelly Lorena came on through my set to sing, and it was a buzz, and they were smiling and grinning, and this bloke who had been sat next to me, like I say, he was just like, this guy is really good, like, and I think, like I say, I underestimated a lot of people, because they see this kid. I mean, I maybe don't necessarily have that sort of DJ image where you look at this guy and go, do you know what? He's a he looks like he's a DJ. I maybe look like somebody who would just play video games and watch movies. I don't know. So I think there was a little bit like surprise, thinking like, is this little kid? Because I do sort of look young for me, especially when I've shaved as well. So I think there was sort of, not expecting someone like me to come and do what Mark usually does. And I did. And I was playing all these tunes, and they was absolutely loving it. I had some CDs with me as well, with some like old tunes on as well. Um, like Killers Adamski, again, just loads of great tunes, to be honest. Bit of Snow Patrol as well. Just played a little bit of a mixture of everything. Bittersweet Symphony. Went on into some 90s a little bit later on. And then it got to about 10 o'clock, and I thought, do you know what? I'm in the mood to sort of rave it up. But I knew obviously I couldn't like fully rave it up. I wasn't about to start mixing in the Cyan Unknown Quash Records, as much as I'd have loved to have done that. And I certainly wasn't about to start dropping the Dutty Donkers. I wasn't going to start blasting donks, in a pub where they do like a lot of like dance anthems and R&B. So I thought, well, what I could maybe do to rave it up is I could essentially I could go into sort of like some funky house and some classic house, and maybe a little bit of deep house, a bit of tech house as well. Um, so I decided to go into my dance and old school remixes folder, and I played some like dance, sort of like deep house and sort of tech house remixes of some of the old like classic sort of like house tunes from like the late 90s into the sort of into the early 2000s. So for example, Barbara Tucker, Most Precious Love, A Man Van Helden, You Don't Even Know Me, loads of great tunes. And then I went into some actual funky house itself, the old Ministry of Sound extended club mixes, where we had like Stonebridge, Put 'Em High, Booty Love, Don't Mess With My Man, Sunblock, Baby Baby, and just played some absolute corkers, to be honest. And it was a buzz, and it went down really well, because I thought my original intention was I'll mix a couple of tunes in, and then if I feel like they're not vibing it, or if they're sort of like saying like, can you lower it back down a bit, then obviously I'll lower it down, because Mark said, if it goes a little bit upbeat and they don't really like it, they will tell you to turn it down. So I was sort of more just doing it as a trial, and then people seemed to love it, and people were just, people were exactly up raving. But they were sat there, and you could tell they was, rocking along, and they were singing along, and they recognised the songs, which was a good thing. And you could tell that they were singing along, and this woman and bloke who was sat opposite me, they was loving it. They was watching it, watching me mix. They were smiling and grinning. They were singing along to the tunes. And they thought they'd recognise me from, like I say, from the old schoolhouse when I did the Kelly Lorena. So obviously that's a buzz in itself, that you play somewhere and then you play somewhere else, and then someone actually does recognise you. That is obviously a buzz in itself. So people actually recognise you. You've got that face, and you must do something on stage that makes people remember you, as opposed to maybe somebody else. So that was a buzz. So just for the rest of the night, I sort of just housed it up, really. But not, I didn't go too heavy. I normally play my deep house and tech house at 130, but I kept it to 125, because I thought, you know what, that'll just be better. I didn't go into any bass line or anything like that. I just kept it minimal to the funky house, and a bit of tech house, but it was light tech house, and it was remixes of like the old tunes. So there was still all the sort of like old school pianos and melodies coming in, and then all the vocals that people would recognise. The only tune I didn't play was Robin S. Show Me Love. And I was aiming to play it, but when there's just so many tunes and then you just run out of time. And that was literally, how it got. They said, can you tone it down just right near the end? This, because they said, look, we're on the last orders. Do you want to sort of bring it down a bit now? So I was like, yeah, all right. So I went back to a CD and played, the Oasis tune, Slip Inside the Eye of Your Mind. Don't Look Back in Anger, because I thought that'll absolutely finish it off. It'll be a nice little sort of ending to the night. And it was, people were singing it, people was like, yeah, go on. And then that song finished, and there was still just a little bit of time just to kill. So I thought, what can I do? What can I do that's just going to finish the night? Keep it on a chilled vibe. And then I thought, do you know what? I'm going to risk it for a biscuit. And I dropped in myself and Jiggerman's Good Life. I thought, do you know what? Let's just give it a try. And I just thought, let's bring it in. And you know what? Again, people did not complain. And they was loving it. They got singing along. This is the good life I'm living. But the funny thing about it is that people didn't realise when the rapping was coming in, when I would do my bars. I don't think people picked up at first that it was me, that it was actually one of my tracks. It was a tune that I'm actually on, doing the bars to. I think people just said, oh, this is a nice little reggae tune, and people just sort of grin along as they're sort of finishing the last drink before closing. Like I say, I don't think they realised it was me that was actually behind the tune, and it was actually me that had obviously done this tune. And then obviously I'm there singing along, but sadly I had microphone issue, which was very, very gutting, and I thought my mic had broken. And I was actually very gutted. I was this close to buying a new one today, and what happened is these little pins here. I actually thought they'd moved and bent, but they hadn't actually moved and bent. It was this little screw here had actually come loose. So now I've tightened it back up, and now obviously as I've tightened it up, it now the lead fits back in. And the mic does actually work. It is slightly on, but speakers aren't that loud. But yeah, so I was quite relieved this morning when I found out I didn't need a new mic. But I was gutted last night that I couldn't use the mic because I would have done a bit of mic work and just like yes, yes, don't get your drinks at the bar. We've got tunes and anthems all night until we close. Filling in for DJ Lil Mark. But sadly, I couldn't do all that, which was a little bit gutting. Quite early on, an old man who'd been who'd come out for a few jars, requested a few songs. Sadly, I couldn't really hear him, and some of the songs, like he requested the song title but not who it was by. Do you know what I mean? Like I think he requested a song called "The Journey" or something like that, but he didn't say who it was by. And the journey is quite a sort of common word, and there's quite a few songs that are called the journey. So when you search it in, you're thinking, well, which one do you actually play? Do you play the wrong one? The only one that he did request that I managed to play through my phone because I could understand what he I knew the track as soon as he said it was he said can you play I Want to Break Free. So obviously I knew I Want to Break Free, which was by Queen. And then obviously he requests some Beatles as well, but he didn't give a specific Beatles track. And then other people started coming in and requesting, so I was a little bit like, well, I'm working on my phone here, and they're like, can you take requests? And I'm like, yeah, I can sort of take requests. And then I think a couple of lads also thought it would be quite funny to play a prank on me, and they requested quite a newish song out and said this is a banger, this will get everybody going. I put it on. It was some like real like cheesy thing that I just personally I didn't like the song. People didn't complain of it, but they didn't get anybody really exactly going and dancing. And then I noticed these two lads, they was like, oh, we love this song, can you request it? Can we request it? But I noticed as soon as I put it on, they sucked up their beer and left. And I think they sort of got me to play this sort of like tell me this tune's really good, when in actual fact it's a horrible tune. Got me to play it, out loud in the pub, and then obviously, see you later, Noble. But do you know what? Other than that, it was an absolutely top solid night. And I've come to realise quite a few things. Now I see a lot of posts on Facebook, and people slate other genres of music, and people saying like, "Oh, it's too cheesy for me. Is that it's not hard enough?" Or other people will go, "That's too hard for me." And I've come to realise that I don't think there is anything too cheesy or anything too hard for me. Like I can be at home. I can have a donk mix, and then the next day I can have an hardcore mix. And then the following day, I can go with the layman to a hardstyle event and listen to raw style and reverse bass and all the harder stuff. And then I can go into the warehouse and I can listen to the hard trance and the early hard style and all the rest of it. And then I can go to a booking like that and I can play 70s, 80s, 90s. 2000s. I can play R&B. I can play house. I can play a little bit of hip hop. I can play a bit of disco, and I love it all. And the songs I know in each genre that I can dance along and I can sing along to. And it's just crazy. Like the music knowledge I have. Is just absolutely. It's just crazy. And even country and western, believe it or not. Myself and one of the workers at Goodwin, he knows some of the country and western songs from Kairos, from San Andreas, and I'll sing some of the country and western songs, and then he'll sing them as well. It's just made me come to realise like how well sort of built I am with knowledge of music and different types of music like all over. I know it. I know them. And it's just absolutely amazing. That I can just listen to so many types of music, and again, like that there's nothing too hard or nothing too soft for me. I love everything from house music to hard house to trance to hard trance, to donk to scouse house, to clubland to hardcore, reverse bass, hard style, raw style. I like my D&B. Don't mind a bit of jungle. Love my rave breaks and break beats. Me breakbeat hardcore, me happy hardcore, me UK hardcore, me hardcore techno. I love it all. I've just, I love and I've just got knowledge and I just love, all types of music really. It's an amazing thing. It's really good to have because I can go to more or less any gig, and and if I don't know the much about the genre itself, I learn, and it's just another genre that I get to like Motown. Like I do know it, but I didn't know it. If that makes sense, like I've heard it before and I do like it, but I wasn't like fully knowledge to go like, yeah, that tune, that tune. Like I'd hear a tune and I'd think, yeah, I remember that one, but when you just don't know what they're called, and that was the case with me. So when I was sort of, getting some of the Motown stuff and looking through, it was jogging my memory and I was recognising some of the songs and I was like, ah, that's what that one's called. And oh, that song, I remember this. Yeah, I've heard this before. So it was a good thing, So it wasn't as such as like I was playing like a genre that was strange to me because there was songs that I recognised, and it was really good. So hopefully, I did the pub proud. Hopefully, I did well covering for little, DJ Lil Mark. I mean, a lot of people would be used to Lil Mark, and I know a few people did ask like, "Oh, where's Mark? Is Mark not here this week?" So a few people was a bit like, "Oh, where's Mark?" But I think a lot of people did like what I had to bring to the table, and what I queued up to the decks and then brought in. And it was good, I went into a little bit of mixing myself, and then I think that shocked people as well, like, because I come in and I play all this like 70s, 80s, and, I'm just sort of fading it in, you can't really mix that type of genre. And then they realised, like, whoa, this guy can actually beat match. And I could see there was a few people watching me, when I was starting to beat match, when I went into doing the house mix. And there was a few people that was, watching me, like when I was like moving the pitch fader and getting the right tempo and putting my headphones on and, proper beat matching. And I was, proper beat matching as well. I was trying to get it in beat, and with the house music, it was a very varied BPM. So sometimes I was having to slow it down and speed it up, and it was a little bit like I was working with vinyl, and it was a really good thing. It was absolutely fantastic, and I was buzzed, and it was really good, and people was watching me, and there was kind of like, wow, like superb, like wow, he's got it in beat, and they could hear the beat coming in time, and it was like, whoa, and then there was listening, and then it was like a song that they recognised, and there was like singing along, and it was a good night. So I hope, it looked like I did justice. It looked like I did them proud, and I think it was a good thing really. And I think just if I'd have had the mic working and stuff like that, it would have gone a little bit better. And maybe if I'd have had a little bit more Motown, maybe at the beginning, would have been good as well. But I still did really well, and I was still buzzed to do it. It was still an absolute buzz. So yeah, that's the aftermath of Lennys Bar. And like I say, I got a booking on the 20th of August out of it. And I've also been booked on the 23rd of July. Well, I say I've been booked. It's about 50-50 at the moment. I got asked for inquiries for a birthday party, and just essentially they haven't like confirmed. Like I got back to them with my price and everything. They've just not essentially confirmed whether or not it's gonna happen. Um, which I know there is a stomping on that day as well. They've announced a little free party in July. Because the next actual main event is actually September. I don't think I'm playing it. I've not been asked about playing it yet, so obviously if I don't, I won't be playing it. And then obviously they put a post up about this one in July about asking to play. If people want to play, like, to inbox us. And I'm thinking, I don't need to inbox them to ask to play. I played for them many a times. And I'm just thinking, if they want me to play, like, they'll ask me. But obviously I might be booked on that day anyway, so it'd be one of them. It would be one of them. If I'm booked, I'm booked. And I know a lot of people don't like it when I am like if there's a local event on and I get booked somewhere else, like out of town. Like, I know some people don't always like it. They're like, it's almost a little bit like as if, like, like you're portraying your local brand, if that makes sense. Like, support your local rave scene and stuff, and they think, like, you're from Hull, how come you're not coming and supporting the event, or I'm playing somewhere else? And it's almost like a little bit of jealousy from some people. I had it back in April because there was a local night on in Hull. Um, it was like a newish event that's just starting up and they're doing well. And, I wish them all the luck and, support, and I share the flyer, by all means. But it just so happens that, I'd already planned to go somewhere else. I'd already bought a ticket. And I was at Havoc, it was in Skegness, and it was 5 rooms full of different genres of music. And, no offences to the Hull event, but because this was a bigger event where I was going, and because, not sounding big-headed, but because I've moved up a level, and I go to a lot of out-of-town raves and stuff, and because they were only going to something small and local, they didn't like it because I was somewhere else. And and it wasn't about the competition. I wasn't trying to say, oh, I'm going somewhere better, or, it wasn't about that. Sadly, I'd already planned to go to this place on the date that this, sadly fallen in Hull. I went to the event before and supported it before I went on to Scunthorpe. Um, you know, and it was just one of them. And the thing about it, obviously, and they were trying so hard to try and get at me. They were trying to make me crack, and they were trying to on purpose, like, make themselves as if they were at somewhere better than where I was, and I wasn't even trying to compete with them. And they was trying to make out like there was some really big, wicked, awesome night, and I'm just thinking, I'm not even trying to compete with you. You enjoy your night, I'll enjoy my night. It was just one of them things. Sadly, sometimes things fall on the same day. It can't be helped, but I wasn't going to give up a ticket that I paid like 25 quid for just because, something's come up in all. I can't now make this other, dates clash all the time. There'll be another date in Hull where I might be free and I'll be able to go to it. And it'll be like, yeah, I'll come and support it because I'm free that night. And that's the kind of person I am. If I'm free and I'm available, I'll come and support it. But what people have got to realise is that I DJ myself, I MC myself, and I go with the layman sometimes and help him with photos, and I do other bits and bobs, and I can't always be free, on Pacific dates, but and I suppose I noticed it about a year ago, because if you remember, we got booked for the Ardor South West Fest, and there was a stomping due to take place. It was due to happen, and essentially what had happened is Boris extended the lockdown. It extended the lockdown by a couple of weeks. So obviously the stomping didn't end up going ahead just because, it couldn't go ahead because, clubs weren't reopening. However, our festival could still go ahead because it was outdoors, it was socially distanced. It was supposed to be a socially distanced event. And, there was the right proceedings in place, and it weren't gathering up in a small club. And because people was putting on Facebook like, "Oh, Boris gutted we can't get to the rave," and because I announced that this festival can still go ahead, people didn't like it, and people was there was like, oh, because jealousy was kicking in, and I just do not get why people why they have to be so jealous people, because jealousy gets you nowhere. And I aren't doing anything or doing any form of post or anything online to get at anybody, to have a go at anybody, to show off to anybody. I'm just living my life. I'm pushing myself musically wise. If I get a booking, I'm gonna share it and announce it. It's the way it goes. I'm not doing it out of to say, oh, look at me, blah blah blah. It's not an attempt to wind people up. I'm just doing what I do, and I just don't get why people have to choose to be jealous. And if people really want to do what I do, then just push yourself. If you don't push yourself, you're not gonna get anywhere. You can't sit on your ass and expect it to be handed to you from a plate. You might come onto my Facebook and you might think, he does this, that, and the other. He goes here, he goes there, and then they look at my friend Lee's posts, and he does this, that, and the other, and they might think like, how does he, how is he doing all this? And we've grafted, we've put work in. I've spent hours playing on Facebook live pages, promoting and pushing myself. I do lives, I update myself, I keep myself constant. As a DJ, I don't fire up my decks once every blue moon. I know some people work and things and they can't always go on them 24/7. I know that is obviously a thing, but I sell myself, I advertise myself, I go to other events, I support the scene. I don't post all me, I don't post all my daily life dramas online, and I don't, I don't argue with people online. I don't, I don't go putting negative comments online, and I don't go putting posts up like, oh, I feel down, because I ain't got a booking. I'm gonna sell all my equipment. I've had enough of this Facebook Live shit now. I'm done with it. I just keep myself to a happy, positive person, push myself music wise, and I just give that positive image that people think, what, I want to book this guy. He's positive, he's happy, he smiles, he can mix, he loves what he does, and we can see that when he mixes. He pushes himself on the daily grind, of trying to be, trying to become a better person, and that's the kind of person we want, as opposed to someone who's got battling through the life of hell, and argued with the missus and custody of the kids, and it's all on Facebook, and the guy's had enough and he's selling up, and then the next day he's DJing, and I found my passion for the DJing again. And then he's announcing these bookings, and then oh, sorry, I can't make it, I can't get there, and it's not gonna push anybody any further. But people can do what I do. People can do what anybody else that is doing well does. You've just got to push yourself. You've just got to be consistent. There's some DJs that don't even have a DJ page, and they just go live off the main profile once in a while. I mean, I go live on my main profile, I won't deny it. I do it as well. But I do have socials for, promoting my music stuff as well. I've got my DJ Ash Noble page, I've got my YouTube, I've got my Instagram. I ain't just going off, me one profile, if that makes sense. Like, I've got my music profile. But my life evolves around music, and that's how I want it to be. I ain't one of these who like, oh, add this account for music. I'm keeping this one to me main life, like, because I don't put my main life on Facebook. It's not me. If I'm having issues at home, I ain't gonna take to Facebook and put them online. I might have done a couple of years ago, but that's not me now. People don't need to know, who I've maybe seen once in a club. They don't need to know that I've had an argument with so and so, or yeah, I've had a really bad day, or if I'm having a really really bad day, or something's going wrong, or I'm just not feeling it, I'll talk to friends that matter. I'll talk to friends and family about it. I'll talk to my close friends. For example, like my friend Lee. If I'm feeling down or worried about something, or I've got some other stuff going on, like personal wise. Obviously, I'll talk to them about it. The only time I'll ever put something on Facebook is if, say, like I'm maybe announcing like a death in the family, or say a DJ's died, and I'm just sharing the post, and I'm like, oh, I'm gutted and upset to hear that so and so's passed away, but other than that, people don't need to know if I'm having an argument, or people that I don't really know. So I'll just text the people that matter. I don't have to put everything online about what's going on and what's kicked off and what hasn't kicked off. Not that much does kick off, but things do happen. I do have days where I feel like what's it all about. But it's just not me to share that. It's not who I am. I don't want to ruin that sort of positive sort of like image that I've gone for through that I've built through social. But there we go. So I don't know why people are jealous. But that's a little insider to me. What I do. And if people are jealous, just get stuffed. Be jealous. It's not gonna get you anywhere. Yeah. That was Lennys Bar. Really good night. Festival vibes for me today. So I'm gonna cut this live. Make sure to like, comment, share. Peace out.